Hi, and welcome to another episode of Hot Takes with me, the Silver Fox. Down in Westminster, there is an SNP MP who goes by the name of Alan Brown, and he hates democracy. He is trying to buy the insertion of a clause into a UK-wide bill to remove the rights of councils to have inquiries as to the positioning of the new super pylons that are needed if this country is to go all electric. These huge, great big, ugly things will be planted like serried rows of soldiers, bang, 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 across some of the most beautiful parts of the country. Local people may object to this. Local people may round on their councils and say, no, we don't want it. And currently, the council has the right to have an inquiry and can refuse the placing of these pylons. Alan Brown wants this right removed so that only the SNP can say where the pylons can or cannot go. It's a major power grab and it removes rights, freedoms and democracy from the people. It's all part of the plan though, isn't it? So we'll take a look at this thing, see why this tosser wants you to have these pylons right next to your house, whether you want it or not, and that you can have no democratic say in regards to where they go. Here goes. So currently, if a local council was going to be putting these pylons on and you didn't like it, you could vote that council out and the next council may say, ooh, we've just seen what's happened to there. No, we won't put them in. And that'd be it. And then they wouldn't be able to have these pylons. The Scottish Government don't want that. They hate democracy. The SNP think democracy is a terrible thing. They want to impose these things without your consent or even, they can just ignore your objections. It means nothing to them. So the SNP want to stop communities blocking the rise of super pylons in new power grab. Nationalist MP Alan Brown attempted to put a clause into the UK government bill which would remove powers from councils to launch public inquiries into these hated projects. And you've got these things. Now, you drive through the Highlands of Scotland, you're going up through the Great Glen, something like that, up the A82, and it's beautiful countryside. But it wouldn't be if your view of that beautiful countryside was interrupted by miles and miles of them. So the SNP has been accused of attempting a power grab over plans to block councils from ordering public inquiries into wind farms and super pylon schemes. Currently, local authorities can trigger inquiries by blocking consent for energy projects. However, the Nationalists want to change the law so only the Scottish Government can decide whether to hold these investigations. In other words, we're going to put this there. We want an investigation. No. And then you've got it. Tough. It's been imposed on you and you've got no democratic mandate to get rid of it. It's led to fears that the communities will be ignored after they protest against new energy initiatives. And of course they will be ignored because the SNP ignores everyone because it does with exactly what it likes, whether it's legal or not. Concerns have been raised about the number of super pylons being planned that will run through miles of rural countryside across the country. Plans have been locked for schemes between Aberdeenshire and Dundee, Argyll and Bute, and in the Highlands. And I saw one that ran down all the way down to Stranraer, was it? And coming across, and when you see where they were planning to put them, it was awful. They would involve the new towers being installed, which are more than 50 metres tall, which is higher than 10 double-decker buses, along with new substations. Campaigners have claimed this work would devastate the areas they're planned for. And here he is, Senior MP Alan Brown. Now, we need to make sure he's no longer Senior MP Alan Brown, but change that to ex-MP Alan Brown. Sought to add a clause to the UK's government's new energy bill, which would strip council of the rights to launch a public inquiry into infrastructure works. I'm very surprised that the Greens aren't against this, because these pylons require, by definition, the digging up of huge tracts of countryside, of the disruption of animal, habitats, possibly the destruction of wildflowers, and meadows and things like this. Utter destruction while they do this. They've got to build all these substations rather than using the existing infrastructure better. Why not? Why not destroy everything? So why aren't the Greens voting against it? It's very weird, isn't it? Currently, these are automatically. This is about the inquiries. Currently, these are automatically triggered if the local authority objects to a planning application. He did this after discussing the issue with the Scottish and Southern electricity networks, i.e., people who've probably paid him an awful lot of money to raise this issue. They've been locked in disputes with a number of communities over plans to install substations and super pylons as part of a £10 billion infrastructure programme backed by the Scottish Government. And that is why they're doing it, because undoubtedly Southern Electric Networks have handed over vast sums of money. It's how you get things done, isn't it? Corrupt to the core, I suspect. He was shut down by Tory Minister Andrew Bowie. Amazing. A Tory doing the right thing. Well done, sir. Who's been inundated with complaints about similar plans in his West Aberdeenshire and Kincardine constituency. He said that the automatic inquiry trigger was important within the process and would need to be replaced, not just axed. And he's right. I mean, I don't mind having inquiries so long as the inquiry actually does what the people in the community want it to do. I.e., when they say no, they mean no, and that means no. Not they say no, it means no, and they go ahead with it anyway. Which tends to happen a lot with the SNP, because they don't give one hoot about what people want. We previously told how there'd been an uproar in the Highlands over plans to install a network of pylons for 100 miles between Spittal in Caithness to Bewley near Inverness. These will be between 50 and 60 metres in height and have provoked concerns about the environment. And not just the lived environment for the animals and things like that, but also for the view, for the actual view of the land itself. You see, one of the great things Scotland has is a natural beauty. And you start building hundreds and hundreds of wind choppers and then these big pylons, these big skeletal giants striding across the thing. It removes the one thing that you go into the Highlands for, the view. You might as well just get rid of it. Might as well just cover the whole of Scotland in huge turds, because that's all these things are. Another plan will see a line of similar pylons built between Kintore in Aberdeenshire and Teeling, which is just north of Dundee. Campaign group Save Our Mearns blasted the SNP plans, and these pylons will stretch for 66 miles. Kate Matthews from the group told the Sunday Post, Westminster and the Scottish Parliament are supposed to represent their constituents, not big business. How is it representing communities to remove protections in the planning system? This is the trouble. These MPs are elected by constituents, and then they immediately turn on this constituents and do the exact opposite of what the constituents want. The constituents want their homes and their environment protected. Meanwhile, the politicians have been paid vast amounts of money by interested sources to do the complete opposite. And it's very tempting to go, what shall I do? The right thing and do as my constituents want, the people who elected me to represent them. Or shall I just take the money and say, screw my constituents? And unfortunately, most of the time, it's take the money and screw the constituents. What the constituents need to do is vote these buggers out. Anyway, she said, this is Kate Matthews continuing, this is just running roughshod over democracy. What is the point of having representation if they choose not to hear us and actively take our voice away from us? Or, listen, they're meant to represent you, and what they do is they represent the opposite of what you want. They're not your representative, they're your enemy. A public inquiry was launched last month in Dalmally in Argyll of Bute, where SSEN plans to build 13.3 kilometres of overhead line with 48 pylons, with campaigners claiming this will devastate the area. Scottish Conservative energy spokesman Douglas Lumsden said, this is a shameful attempt at a power grab away from local communities and the councils who serve them. It betrays the SNP's attitude towards consultation over major projects. Rural communities across Scotland already know how quickly their objections get overturned for wind farms. The Scottish public would have absolutely no confidence in Scottish ministers making the right decisions for local people behind a desk in Edinburgh. And he is right. And it is a power grab. It's desperate. But they want to grab every single bit of power they can get. They want to micromanage every aspect of your life. I'm surprised they're not actually in your house seeing what's in your food cupboard and then tusking because you're eating too many calories today. That's where they are. That would give them the wet dream to be able to do something like that. But it is all the time with them. More power, more power, more power. The trouble is, with even the powers they've got, they get everything wrong. If you give them more power, they'll just get everything wronger. I'm stopping there and I'm coming up. Does anyone trust the SNP? Does anyone trust the SNP to do the right thing? To do the right thing for the people of the local community? Or do we trust them to take the money, say screw the community, and use the money to push petty little vendettas, to do vanity projects, and to show how virtuous they are while destroying everything? Every single thing. I know which I think. Anyway, I shall stop there. Thank you very much for watching. If you like what you're seeing here on the channel, please hit the subscribe button, ring the bell, leave a like, leave a comment, please share the video. And until next time, stay safe, stay well, and remember, the SNP are not your friend. They are the enemy. Bye.